Hello, welcome to this writing tools tutorial. Today we're going to be talking about Ozdic.com, which is an online collocations dictionary. So, what are collocations? Simply put, collocations are words that often go together. Using them is the key to sounding natural, fluent, and articulate. Students who use a wider range of collocations get higher marks in exams and are considered more fluent by others. Let's take a look at some different types of collocations. We have dependent prepositions, so verbs, and the prepositions that they take. So consist of, depend on, abstain from, for example. We have verb and noun collocations, so you do homework, but you make an apology. There are adjective and noun collocations. You tell a compelling story, a story that people want to hear. You hear a mournful song, a song that makes you feel sad and reminds you of something or someone which is no longer there, which is gone, which has died. Now, using collocations effectively is one of the main goals of language learners. Why? Using them makes you sound more natural and native-like, and also something that we don't emphasize enough, using collocations well means that you can express yourself precisely and you can express yourself articulately. Okay? We often stress the importance of sounding native-like, but we know there are plenty of native English speakers who aren't particularly good communicators. So let's take native speakers off their pedestal. There's nothing that makes us special necessarily. Okay? So keep in mind that vocabulary use, any old English speaker isn't necessarily going to use the best collocations. So in this respect, you're no worse or no better than a native speaker. So let's focus, in upcoming lessons, we'll talk more about this idea of being articulate, choosing the most appropriate specific words and phrases for a given context. So going back to the examples before about a compelling story or a mournful song, the idea about collocations is, on the one hand, collocations, by using them, you can rephrase what you want to say or write to sound more natural and idiomatic in English. But also, if you choose them carefully, you're choosing more specific word combinations which express nuance. They express shades of meaning. So collocations, on the one hand, it's about sounding natural, but it's also about expressing your ideas more carefully, more precisely. Now, how to start using collocations in your writing? Quite simple. Identify a few concepts or ideas connected to your topic. So here, I've identified the topic. Let's say I'm going to write an article about hanging out with friends, going out with friends, socializing. So I've just brainstormed a few key concepts connected to the idea of going out. So friends, bars, night, conversation are some concepts that I thought of. Now, here I've written a text with these concepts. So we've got bars, friends, night, conversations. There are different ways you can go about this. You can write a text in the language you already know without a dictionary and then upgrade it. That's the approach I'm taking today. You could also look for the collocations and then build the text around them. So one way is, I like the idea of process writing. So you start with a first draft. So start with the vocabulary you already know and then try to upgrade it. That means improve it. So I've taken a text here. So let's take a look at this text that we're going to try and improve using Ozdic.com. Although some people say that going out at night is a waste of time, I disagree. I've made friends who will be with me for the rest of my life thanks to going out to bars in the evening. In fact, I met my best friend Sarah at a bar. I remember the first time we met. I had just left an Italian restaurant and noticed a new bar next door. I went in for a drink and started a conversation with the bartender. It was quite late at night when I began to realize that I was really enjoying myself and had hardly noticed that the bar was now full of people. Now I go to that bar after work most days and have a chat with Sarah. She's been a great support to me and I hope we'll be friends for a long time to come. So here are the chunks in the text which express these concepts to do with friendship, conversation, nighttime, and what was the fourth one? Conversation, friendship, and bars. That's right. Okay, so we're going to start with this first chunk about friends. I have made friends who will be with me for the rest of my life. And then there's the final chunk at the end, we'll be friends for a long time to come. So the idea is to look for collocations, combinations of words here in this entry from Ozdic. You just put in the word friend and here are the combinations that come up. I've cut out some of the middle part because there's just too much information in this entry. So the idea is to pause here and see if you can find the collocations that would fit in these two spots. Okay, so resume the video when you're ready to check your answer. So as we can see, if we talk about friends who are going to last a long time or who we've had for a long time, we can talk about a lifelong friend. And in the second chunk, in the final paragraph, I hope we'll remain friends. We often use the verb remain with friends. Okay, let's move on. So, conversation. I went in for a drink and started a conversation with the bartender. This is perfectly fine. We just want to look for an alternative way, maybe slightly more idiomatic, natural sounding. Nothing wrong with this, right? But a lot of language learning after B2 is upgrading, okay, improving, making it sound more natural. So if we're going to pause again, try to identify a verb that could be used instead of start. So when you're ready to check, press play again. So here we have one example, struck up a conversation, strike up a conversation, meaning start a conversation. Okay. I would say it's a good rule of thumb to aim to use phrasal verbs if you have a selection of verbs. Using a phrasal verb is it should be an instinct to try and use as many phrasal verbs as possible. Now, the thing is, you might see a list like this in some of the words, and maybe this phrasal verb, you saw it and you weren't sure if it was right. So what you might want to do is look it up in a regular dictionary, like the Longman Dictionary of Contemporary English, probably the best dictionary for English language learners. Okay, so here we can look and see, we can confirm, strike up a friendship, relationship, conversation to start talking to them. So yes, this is appropriate for this context. Okay. Now, this chunk about, it was quite late at night. If we put in the word night in Ozdic, we'll come up with this entry. Now, I'm going to ask you to pause the video and see if you can identify a chunk that would fit in this here. It was quite late at night. Now, this one was a bit trickier, I think. Here we have the phrasal verb wear on, meaning progress. So we say, as the night wore on, meaning as it got later in the evening, as the night progressed. Okay? The bar was now full of people. Is there an adjective we could use to describe a place full of people? And can we find a verb to replace go? So pause here and then check. So we say the bar was crowded. And instead of I go to that bar, we say I drop into that bar. If you drop into a place, it means you go there without necessarily letting someone know ahead of time. So if you drop into a place or you drop in, it means without letting someone know, it's casual, there's no arrangement ahead of time. So here we have on the left-hand side, the original chunks in gray, which are not incorrect, but that could be made more idiomatic, more natural sounding. So on the right-hand side, we have the chunks in yellow with the collocations that we found in Ozdic. So to sum up, brainstorm concepts related to your topic, find collocations related to them in Ozdic. When in doubt about the meaning of the collocation you want to use a standard dictionary like Longman to make sure the collocation is appropriate for your context. Here are the web addresses. I hope you found this useful. See you in the next video.